Well, I just watched the Apple event about the iPhone 16, so should you get one? Now remember, I am looking at the phone from a video and filmmaking perspective, photography as well, but not quite as much, really all about video. And so my opinion is really about that. How does it work as a video and filmmaking tool? And so let's talk about why you should get one. Well, the top reason for me is probably the new 4K 120 frames per second. We've never had that ability on an iPhone before, and now you can not only do that in HEVC and Dolby Vision, but you can also do it in ProRes and Apple Log, but you do have to go out to an external recorder. Now, it'll be interesting to see if a third-party app like Blackmagic will support it internally, because they do with 4K 60 ProRes and the native camera app does not. Either way, it's really cool to have that feature because the HD 120, truth be told, has really looked pretty bad for a long time. I have a course about the Blackmagic camera app, and I actually recommend not using the 120 frames per second, particularly in that app because you can't set the bitrate. And it just looks really muddy and kind of artifacty. So I typically recommend just shooting 4K 60 and then slowing that down in post using like Topaz Labs or Twixtor, etc. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. But the point being, 4K 60 is great, but 4K 120 is even better. And to be able to do that in camera now or out to an external drive, that would be a big reason for me to upgrade. The number two reason for me would be the new 48 megapixel ultra wide. That ultra wide, that 0.5 is one of the more popular camera lenses on the iPhone. I know my kids love shooting with that, and I do too. It's one of the more unique ways to make your shots visually interesting. However, again, in photography especially, we've had the 12 megapixel sensor. Now it has the 48 megapixel, which matches the main sensor. And that is a big selling point. That's really big. It doesn't affect video quite as much because the aperture is the same. I believe it's a 2.2, f2.2. But again, just having I think the sensor may be a little bit bigger. I can't say for sure, but I do know it's a new sensor, and that alone is going to make it probably better in low light, just less noise, and just an all-around better lens because, again, the ultra-wide is one of my favorite looks on the phone, and the ability now to shoot great photos with that and then to continue to shoot good video with that is a big selling point to me. And then the new audio features look promising to me. Now, at first glance, it may seem kind of gimmicky, and typically speaking, I only like to do audio enhancement or audio stuff in post-production, not in camera. But the cool thing here is you are doing it after you shoot. And if you didn't see the video, basically the way it looks to me is it's almost like doing some AI audio enhancement like you might with Adobe Enhance, the AI noise reduction they have. But it does more than noise reduction. It actually changes the sound of your voice. And the new Apple Audio Mix does that as well. It'll make it sound different depending on the scenario. They showed a scene where two people were talking at a bar and you could make it sound like they were more present, like they were recorded in a studio, I guess, or one that was more natural and then one that took the background noise out, etc. And so again, it's a little bit gimmicky, but it is also kind of cool. And in particular, if you're doing low budget or DIY type work, or maybe short films or indie film, YouTube videos, etc., the ability to do that in the phone, in the camera, is pretty cool. That way you don't have to go out and use a third-party app like Adobe Enhance, depending on what you're doing. And so that is kind of a borderline reason to update, but it could be kind of cool, again, depending on the situation. And then the final one for me would be the new camera control hardware button. And they mainly demoed it with photos. And so that does look pretty cool. The ability to basically treat your iPhone like a traditional camera. You have a shutter button, so to speak. But it also allows you to control different settings by pressing lightly or pressing hard on the button and scrolling. So you can choose different lenses, I think, or the aperture, etc., all through that one button without touching the screen. Obviously, I don't have the phone. This is kind of a hot take right after watching that video, but that looks promising. And in a weird way, it almost reminds me of using a third-party case where that way you could have a Bluetooth shutter button and you didn't have to worry about touching the screen of the phone. The one thing I don't know is how different cases will respond to it, meaning whether existing cages will work. I don't think they will. The phone sizes have changed a little bit, unfortunately. It means we got to update our cases and cages, etc. A way for everybody to make more money, of course, in my opinion. Used to, Apple would have a phone model and it would stay the same, at least the hardware aspect of it, for at least 2 generations, maybe 3. Now they change every year, which as consumers, that really sucks when we're buying third-party gear. And I know it sucks for the brands too, having to redo or remake these cases and cages every single year. But either way, that hardware button, the camera control hardware button, does look promising. Would I use it all the time? I don't know. It could also be like one of these Apple things that sounds good on paper, but in practice, it's, more trouble than it's worth. But we'll see. It does look like something that may entice me to upgrade, especially from a photo and video perspective. All right, well, why would you not upgrade? Well, to me, really, the only reason to upgrade is if you're on an iPhone 14 or earlier. If you have a 15, I would not upgrade. I don't think it's worth it because, again, you get 4K 120 now and you get the ultra wide. That's a larger megapixel. However, you can fake a lot of that truthfully with the 15. You could use Topaz Labs or Twixtor to do higher end slow motion. And then you could use Topaz Labs or something again like that to upscale a photo if you needed to get higher quality or a higher resolution or denoising, etc. And then the camera control and the audio mix, while they're nice, they are definitely not a big seller, in my opinion, for people, doing mobile video. In other words, if you have a 15, I would not upgrade just for those. If you have a 14, you don't have to upgrade, but the big thing from the 14 to the 15, now the 16 would really be USB-C. And then, of course, shooting Apple Log. Those 2 things alone made going to the 15 worth it. And so there's nothing really that big in the 16, in my opinion. However, from the 14 and before, going to the 16 will be a great upgrade for filmmakers, anyone making video for YouTube or corporate video or indie films or short films, whatever. It will be worth it, in my opinion, for that. But again, if you have a 15, nah, I wouldn't do it. Now, will I upgrade? Yeah, I will upgrade, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because I have to upgrade every year running this channel. I do not get free phones from Apple. I don't get free much of anything. I have to pay for it. And if I was not running this YouTube channel, I have a 15 Pro Max right now, I would not upgrade. I wouldn't upgrade. It's an okay upgrade, but it's not one that I would automatically do, not at all, unless you're maybe rich or you just really want to shoot slow motion on your iPhone. So what do you think? Will you be getting a new 16 Pro or a Pro Max? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. This is Blake Calhoun. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.